Hello everyone, welcome back to the Global Alert TV channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today's video covers one of the most intense developments in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine as reports confirm that Russia has launched a massive new barrage of missiles and drones against Ukrainian cities, leading to widespread power outages and damage to critical infrastructure. This event is not just another military escalation, it highlights the continuing evolution of modern warfare where drones and missiles are used together to exhaust defenses, break civilian morale, and push strategic objectives. What happened during this latest wave of strikes deserves a detailed explanation that looks at the exterior situation unfolding on the ground, the interior conditions faced by ordinary citizens, the performance of military technology, the safety features of Ukraine's air defense, the unique selling points of both sides' strategies, the metaphorical price being paid by soldiers and civilians alike, and finally a conclusion about where things may go from here. The exterior scene of the attack is one of shock and destruction. Across major Ukrainian cities, including Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Dnipro, the night sky was lit up with fiery streaks as Russian cruise missiles and Shahed drones approached in swarms. Witnesses described the terrifying hum of engines overhead, followed by the crack of explosions and the eerie glow of fires spreading through residential districts and power plants. The barrage lasted several hours, testing the endurance of Ukraine's air defense crews who scrambled to intercept as many incoming threats as possible. The exterior picture, therefore, is not simply about explosions, but about the sheer persistence of Russia's campaign to target infrastructure and weaken Ukraine's resilience. By focusing on power generation plants, transmission lines, and energy storage, the attacks created deliberate blackouts that plunged entire regions into darkness. These external images of destruction are intended to send a message not only to Ukraine but to the wider world about Russia's willingness to push the conflict into deeper humanitarian crisis. Now let us turn to the interior, the human experience that defines the true cost of such strikes. Inside Ukrainian homes, families huddled together in basements and shelters as air raid sirens wailed for hours on end. Children cried while parents tried to calm them, telling stories by candlelight as the electricity failed and heating systems shut down in the middle of cold nights. Hospitals switched to emergency generators, forcing doctors to ration energy and prioritize life-saving equipment. In small apartments, elderly citizens sat wrapped in blankets as temperatures dropped, remembering earlier blackouts from the start of the war and wondering how much longer they could endure. The psychological stress is immeasurable, because while air defenses intercept many threats, the constant alarms and uncertainty keep millions of people in a state of anxiety. This interior reality is bigger and more significant than military statistics. It shows how warfare reaches deep into the private lives of ordinary people, creating invisible scars that last far longer than the damage to buildings. It is not just about infrastructure collapsing, it is about trust collapsing, the trust that electricity will flow, that water will be pumped, that safety exists within the walls of one's home. Performance is another aspect worth analyzing. Russia's missiles and drones are being deployed in massive numbers because their performance is calculated not purely by accuracy but by saturation. By launching dozens of drones ahead of missiles, Russia forces Ukrainian defenses to expend valuable ammunition on cheaper unmanned aircraft, leaving fewer interceptors available for high-value cruise or ballistic missiles. This performance strategy reflects an asymmetric use of resources. Relatively inexpensive drones create openings for more advanced weapons. On the Ukrainian side, performance has been remarkable considering the pressure. Ukrainian defense systems, supplied by Western allies, have successfully intercepted a majority of incoming threats. Reports indicate that up to 70 to 80% of missiles and drones were shot down, a performance level that has saved countless lives and prevented even more catastrophic damage. Yet performance is not absolute, because even a small percentage of successful strikes can cause widespread blackouts and infrastructure failure. Thus, the performance on both sides reflects an ongoing chess match where technology, timing, and numbers are constantly being adjusted. Safety features also deserve a closer look. Ukraine has invested heavily in safety mechanisms such as underground shelters, warning sirens, and rapid response fire brigades. These features have saved many lives, as citizens know where to go during alerts and medical teams are prepared to handle casualties quickly. Furthermore, the deployment of NATO standard air defense systems like Patriot, NASAMS, and IRIS-T provides a multi-layered shield designed to protect urban populations. However, safety features are always limited in a prolonged conflict. Power outages disable some safety functions such as traffic lights, water purification systems, and hospital operations. Meanwhile, Russia claims its strikes are targeting military infrastructure, framing them as precision operations with their own safety features designed to avoid civilians, but the repeated evidence of damage to residential blocks undermines this narrative. Safety is thus contested territory, Ukraine striving to preserve it through defense and resilience, Russia using the lack of safety as leverage in psychological warfare. Unique selling points are important to understand because they highlight what distinguishes each side's strategy. Russia's unique selling point in this phase of the war is its ability to sustain long-range attacks from deep inside its own territory. By launching waves of missiles and Iranian-made drones from hundreds of kilometers away, Russia demonstrates reach and persistence. It aims to show that nowhere in Ukraine is truly safe. On the other side, Ukraine's unique selling point lies in its resilience and adaptability. Despite repeated assaults, Ukraine restores power grids within hours or days, rebuilds damaged infrastructure, and maintains civilian morale with astonishing speed. This ability to absorb punishment and continue functioning is a unique attribute that has earned admiration worldwide. Moreover, Ukraine's partnership with Western nations provides access to advanced technologies and financial support that reinforce this resilience. Thus, while Russia sells its image of dominance through firepower, Ukraine sells its image of survival through endurance. Price is a word that captures the immense burden carried by both sides. For Russia, the price includes international sanctions, economic isolation, and the depletion of expensive missile stockpiles. Each advanced missile launched represents millions of dollars in costs that strain the Russian budget. For Ukraine, the price is more visceral. It is paid in human lives lost, in children growing up under constant fear, in cities scarred by rubble, and in the economic devastation caused by outages that paralyze industry and commerce. Price also means the strain on allies providing continuous supplies of ammunition and equipment. The financial, emotional, and geopolitical costs are immense, and they underline the fact that every barrage of missiles is not just a tactical move, but a transaction in which human suffering becomes currency. In conclusion, this new wave of missile and drone strikes is not an isolated incident but part of a broader strategy that has defined the Russia-Ukraine war for months. By attacking energy infrastructure, Russia hopes to break Ukraine's spirit, yet the evidence so far shows that Ukraine remains determined, with defenses strong and communities resilient. The exterior destruction is visible in burning buildings and darkened cities, the interior suffering is hidden in cold homes and frightened hearts, the performance of weapons shows both innovation and limitation. Safety features offer partial shields, unique selling points define strategic identities, and the price is a shared burden that falls hardest on the innocent. As this conflict continues, the world must not only measure the numbers of missiles intercepted or power plants damaged, but also the deeper cost being etched into the history of this generation. And that is why global attention remains essential, because silence in the face of such suffering is also a form of complicity.